All right, so I got the Bitcoin Bull t-shirt on. Got it specially for this occasion for you. We go all out here. So last week, I told you about why I believe that the May low, what was it, June, whatever it was, 17,500. That low, historic low, big low, massive low. Something that people are going to remember a few years from now, just like today, people look back to 2018 and like, oh man, I should have, I could have, I should have gone all in. Man, I was so clear. As you can see at the lows, it's a little bit difficult. It's a little bit difficult. So in this video, I want to tell you about something that is unfolding right now that is just absolutely, absolutely massive that I believe is going to skyrocket Bitcoin this year. And I am going to go out on a limb at the risk of people trolling me, making fun of me, mocking me. Okay, I'll take it on. I think Bitcoin could actually hit $100,000 this year. This year. And it's because of something that is going on right in front of your very eyes. It's actually everywhere, except crazily enough, nobody's paying attention to it. Nobody's talking about it. And importantly, nobody's talking about why it matters for Bitcoin. And obviously where Bitcoin goes, crypto will go. But for this video, I'm just going to talk about Bitcoin because that's the central thing that matters. All right. So what is this thing that is like so clear, so obvious, so right in front of everyone's eyes, but no one is talking about it and why it matters for Bitcoin? All right. Have to get a little technical here, so stick with me. All right. All right. So if you go and look at the world's currencies, for the most part, people use the US dollar as the reserve currency. In other words, that's what they store in their back room to actually print out their own money. Like China's got like trillions of dollars, and they put it into, our government debt. Europe, they've got, trillions of, US dollars. But more recently, the US dollar is less desired, by lots of people. So it's created an opening for something else. And a lot of the things that we did after Russia invaded Ukraine, now some of the stuff that we're doing with crypto, is making people like want to consider other things. So where can they go? Where can they go? Well, it used to be that people went to the euro. The euro is the currency in Europe. It's not quite as accepted as the US dollar. Like, for example, when I've traveled to places, when I was in Africa, hey, you can literally just use US dollars. People will instantly convert and give you change back in local currency. In other words, the dollar is accepted worldwide. The euro, not quite as accepted, but still accepted in many places. But the euro, I mean, have you seen? The euro is plummeting against the value of the dollar. Like the high was something like $1.60, right? So in other words, you were living large in Europe, like back about in 2007 or so, 2008, because you know what? For every euro, you could get $1.60. But that has now plummeted down to under $1. Under $1. So, I mean, euro is really going down in value against the dollar. Now, there's a lot of people, for example, in Asia, Japan, even folks like Australia and other places, South America, where, they've put money into the euro as a store of value. In other words, put it in the back room and then, we print our own currency, but like we know that this is going to be stable. Nothing's going to happen. But you're going from $1.60 down to under $1? Yeah, not so stable and not such a good store of value. So it creates this opening, this instability in this market creates this opening for something else, something new. And the answer to this, right? You know the answer to this. Come on. What is the other currency? Are folks really going to go buy the Chinese currency and put it in the back room as their store of value? Count me in the skeptical column on that one. Deeply skeptical. I don't think so. What else is there? The Australian dollar, too small. The Swiss franc, yeah, man, this is, it's just really like a tiny little country. The UK pound, I mean, inflation at 10% in UK, that's, what's going on in the United Kingdom. Plus, the United Kingdom's a small island. I mean, that's like, from another time, when, its importance was huge, but like really not an option today. There are no sizable economies, countries in South America. Canadian dollar, yeah, again, it has the same issues as the Swiss franc and the United Kingdom pound, which is that it's just too small of an economy. So when you then look at it, I forgot to mention the Japanese yen, which is like, again, some number of people do keep their money in Japanese yen, but this is a country that has really significant problems with respect to its demographics, and it's again faces some of the same issues as the United Kingdom, the Swiss franc, or any of these countries where the economy is big but is not growing, and so people don't feel comfortable leaving their money in that currency. But Bitcoin, it's ready. It's ready. It's widely distributed around the world. I just saw a stat that said that 15% of people in India own Bitcoin. That's over 100 million people, folks. 100 million people. They may not own a lot, but hey, they own it. But that's a vote of confidence. It didn't say 100 million people own euros, and it didn't say that they own the Australian dollar, but they have gone on their own with no one telling them to go and buy Bitcoin. So here's what I believe is going to unfold. All right. So this is the takeaway from this video. All right. The euro is going to keep going down, and you will see first slowly and then more rapidly and then suddenly, and that will be the takeoff moment. And you wait for that. Well, then you're going to miss out on the low prices, in my opinion. Remember, this channel, opinion, not advice. Whatever happens, win, lose, gain, loss, on you. All right. So what I believe is going to happen is that the folks that have stored euros as a reserve, in the back room to print out their own currencies themselves, or to keep it for a rainy day, or hey, that currency is always going to be stable. I'm like, whoa, this could go down a lot lower. That stuff that's going on, in Europe, with their gas prices going up huge, inflation going up huge, this could be like a real big problem. This currency could go down a lot more. And, hey, we put more into dollars, except like, hey, did you see like, when the Russia-Ukraine war came, like the US government, they went and like, blocked the reserves that Russia had. They couldn't use them. What if like we do something and the US government doesn't allow us to use our reserve dollars? So what are our options? I suppose you could buy gold, but like, hey, market for gold, it's not quite as liquid, but like Bitcoin, it trades in the billions of dollars every day. Anybody can access it. It's neutral. Its monetary policy is set by a computer algorithm. Its supply is determined by a mathematical function. Its demand obviously is driven by what people around the world can choose to do. And it is really, really difficult for a government to censor Bitcoin. Really, really difficult. Because if you've got one of these, you can find a way to buy Bitcoin, carry Bitcoin around, use Bitcoin. So I believe that we are on the cusp, I'll have to use that cusp word, cusp of something very significant, which is that the old way, the old currency market, the old reserves, the way that, the really big money, the central bank money, the government money, the way that all works is kind of like coming apart. The euro, because of its value plummeting as a result of a number of things going on as a result of the Russia-Ukraine war. Then the US dollar, as a result of a number of actions that the government has taken in the last 1 or 2 years to really make it, clear that, hey, while you accumulate our dollars, we feel like we can tell you what you can and cannot do. And that was not the original deal. So it's a perfect time, a perfect moment for a neutral currency, for a neutral reserve currency that is liquid, that is widely distributed, widely known, politically independent and neutral, to really take market share. And what would happen? Well, listen, folks, go look at the demand and supply. Hey, we've gone through this horrific decline in Bitcoin from 69,000 down to 17,500. And you've got this global instability about to really, really unfold. The euro going down under $1, that's going to be a trigger point. In my judgment, in my opinion, no guarantees, but what I believe is going to unfold is you are going to see Bitcoin soar. I'm just going to throw out a round number target because that's easy. Maybe it doesn't make it to 100,000. Maybe it makes it to 75. Maybe it makes it back to 70 or 72. But what it would do is that it would really catalyze, meaning make other people do the same thing that the early ones, the early birds are doing, which is going and buying Bitcoin as a reserve and now starting to use it instead of the dollar and the euro. So that's my video for this week. You know what I'm going to ask you to do, right? Come back next week.